Well, welcome back to Smart Life. I am Dr. Gina, always happy to be here with you. Now, don't forget, you can watch us live in cities around the country, wherever you are. Biz TV, growing all the time. We are now on the air in New York, Philadelphia, Orlando, and Los Angeles. Biz TV, it is your biz. And of course, you can view past episodes of Smart Life at moneybizlife.com. My next guest is one who has been a partner in crime of mine along this crazy patriot path all along. She is the author of Roar, the new conservative woman speaks out, and she's here today to tell us how we can message this whole border issue, calling out the hyperbole and hype while making our point absolutely crystal clear. Welcome to Smart Life, Scottie Hughes. Good to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dr. Gina. Very excited.
Absolutely. Good to be with you. And I want to ask you first, Scottie, just your observations on the hyperbole specifically regarding the border, because I saw this, I don't know if you saw it or not, but this big bashing by Geraldo Rivera of Drudge. Did you happen to see that? Because I didn't prep you with this at all, so I'm totally pulling this out of my hat here. But he was saying, you know, just the fact that that Drudge had mixed in the Ebola warnings with all of the border stories, made it look like Ebola was a border story issue, which I'm not altogether sure it isn't, but he called it hype. He said conservatives are hyping this issue, that we're talking about children and women here, and that if conservatives were so darn chivalrous, as you know all about being from Tennessee, that we shouldn't be looking at it this way. What do you say?
Well, with all due respect to Geraldo, and we know where his opinion's coming from. I mean, come on, he is Hispanic, so he does have that going on. But with all due respect to the man, Drudge Report is not a news teller. They are a news aggregator. Unlike your website where people go to read your opinion and your stories and things that you're breaking, people go to Drudge just to see headlines, and they click on the link and they get passed on to other websites. Not necessarily, they never stay directly on Drudge. So the key is with this, while Geraldo wants to sit there and say that Drudge did this on purpose, I'm more likely to say this is just where it fell. It was not something that they purposely did. And for he to be as petty as that, to start pulling out a conservative website that just happens to be one of the top conservative news websites, I have to wonder right now, who is he really aiming at him? He's obviously getting just as pathetic as the majority of those people right now that are saying that immigration should just be an open border and let's give amnesty to all, and who truly believe this is a humanitarian crisis that we had nothing to do with and nothing to actually create.
Is this, Scottie, an ethnic cleansing, as some have called it? Is it tantamount to segregation that we saw before the Civil War? Is this a racial issue at all? Because you brought up that Geraldo is Hispanic. You and I both know a lot of our Hispanic friends who 100% are on our side in this. So do we let them make this a racial question? Do we let them label us as segregationalists somehow because we want a clearly defined border, or to say that this is some sort of ethnic cleansing? What is your response to those accusations?
You know what? Shame on them, because what they're doing is they're just diluting what the real message is when we really have racism, or when we really have ethnic cleansings going on like what we see going over in West Africa or Africa right now. Shame on them for using this type of literally a term that has nothing to do with an ethnic cleansing, or this is not a racial issue. This is truly an economic issue, if anything, that our country is not back up. We are not able to handle the citizens that we have right now, take care of them. So why are we going to continue to put more of a burden on our education, on our healthcare, on our overall economy? And that's what this is doing. If we truly cared about these kids, Dr. Gina, you have children just like myself. Go ask your child right now, what would be more of a crisis in their minds? What would be more damaging to them? To sit there and to live in an area where they feel like they might be in danger themselves, but be with their family, or being ripped from their hands of their mother and father and sent away to a foreign country that they do not know the language, that they do not know anybody in, and then so more than likely you will never see your mother and father again. Ask your children what would actually be more horrific to them and more destructive to their lives. And you'll get the real answer here. So you have to ask, what is the agenda right now of the Obama administration? Because they created this problem. They knew it was coming, and they've done yet to do anything to deal with it besides just open our border.
We know that we are now into the hundreds of thousands of illegals being brought across the border. Now it's being advertised, I guess, in Honduras that you can go to America, you can have all these things free, all the life that they see on television before them, the Hollywood. They're all going to get a part of that if they can just get here. My understanding is they're spending about $5,000 per person to get them here. People are calling this a humanitarian crisis. You mentioned that. You just wrote a book about women's perspective on things, and you say this is the year where conservative women should roar. To the conservative women out there, what is your advice in response to all of the arguments being made to the counter of what is truly in the best interest of women and children in this border crisis?
Well, that's it. And like I said before, like I said, what would be more horrific than having your child being ripped from your arms and being sent? And they are paying for it. Listen, this is for some reason the Obama administration. Well, we know the reason. The Democrats wanted more voters, so they went down there to try to bring them over. President Obama, I used to think he was a really smart president. That the fact that, he went behind the scenes, they make dumb blonde jokes all the time, but the key is they're still talking about blondes. The same thing goes with the president. He is not dumb. He has gotten across every single agenda item that he ran on, immigration being one of the last ones. And so this is what he was going to do. And the problem is that he did not realize his base, the female base that's already crying for, hey, wait a minute. We haven't taken care of our own kids, our own education system, our own health insurance. I've lost my pediatrician. My child is not protected, that I now have to struggle even more to put food on our table. That is, whether you're male or female, black, white, tall, short, it doesn't matter. If we don't have money in the bank to take care of our family, then I promise you, it doesn't matter what this president's agenda is. Our number one priority is taking care of our homes, taking care of our homestead, and making sure that our children and grandchildren have a better country moving forward than just what we've enjoyed.
You brought up Obama, and you've watched, as I've watched, the executive orders being crammed down the throat of the American people, starting, of course, with a health care bill that took over 20% of our economy and has been continually forced on us and our legislators who weren't even allowed to read the bill before it was passed. Thank you, Nancy. What do we say to those who say that we need to impeach this president now? What's the Tea Party response to that?
Well, it's kind of, it goes both ways. On one hand, the Democrats have raised millions off of this word impeach. And to be honest with you, as long as we have Eric Holder, who I'm convinced has naked photos of the entire president and his cabinet because he's been able to keep his job without actually doing his job, then I don't necessarily see us starting an impeachment trial anytime soon, because we have more than enough material. But it's not necessarily focusing on the case. And, we've proven that even the judicial branch has come back and said that this law, Obamacare, is illegal. It's unconstitutional, which is really odd considering we have a president that supposedly taught constitutional law. You would have thought he would have checked this before he signed his name to it. But here's the ultimate end all be all. While yes, I do believe that we have enough reason to impeach this president, do I think it's going to happen? Not at all. And I think the next 2 years need to be spent as a Republican, as a united party, showing why this problem, immigration, healthcare, and all the other issues this administration has done is because of the Democrats, and the lack of leadership and their progressive agenda is the reason, not necessarily anything that they can throw back on the Republican Party.
So shut up with the impeachment talk, conservatives. I mean, that's essentially the message that you feel is the best one right now.
While I wish it would happen, while I wish it was true, unfortunately, I just don't see it being able to happen. I don't see Eric Holder doing that.
All right. Scottie Hughes, Tea Party News Network, and also the author of the new book, Roar, The New Conservative Woman Speaks Out. Scottie, thank you for being with us. We appreciate you.